just me and the world's best tasting vodka.
Guys, welcome to another episode of Off the Dribble with your boy Byron Scott. My special guest today has been in over 40 movies. He's done TV, he's a comedian, he's done it all. I don't know what else to say about my boy. Cedric the Entertainer says it all. I mean, we golfed together.
Yeah.
It was a hell of a golf tournament. But I'm just telling y'all, this is one of my dearest friends when I talk about. But just like so many more of my guests, Cedric and I haven't had a chance to really sit down and have a conversation. We've talked on that golf course about a number of things, but this is the first time we get a chance to sit down and have a conversation. Cedric, my brother.
My dog, man, pleasure, man.
You know that. Now we're gonna celebrate.
Man.
This episode to my boy Ced and for
cheers,
coming
man.
down, and we're gonna have a little sip like we normally do.
Mm-hmm.
One of my
That's
favorite
nice.
wines, ladies and gentlemen. This is Nickel and Nickel, up there in the Napa Valley. Ced knows it well as well. He's driven by that Napa Valley and checked it out. So Ced,
Yeah, bro.
to start it off, Showtime at the Apollo.
Oh,
When you
that
did
goes
Showtime
back.
at the Apollo, we're going way back now.
yeah,
You know, that was one of the first things that you were doing back
Yeah.
in those days when you started doing your stand-up and things of that nature.
exactly.
And obviously, I remember the Kings of Comedy.
Yeah,
You know, with you and DL and Bernie and
Harvey,
and our
yeah.
man, Steve Harvey. So tell us about that experience.
So, I mean, well, Showtime at the Apollo was actually it was my second opportunity of being on television coming from St. Louis, but it was the first one that aired, which was interesting because there used to be another show in New York called Uptown Comedy and Flex. You know, if you know the comedian Flex, that also a serious golfer.
Yeah.
But Flex used to be one of the stars of that show. And that was the show I went there and I did that show, and then I had a chance to do Apollo. And like most people, you go to do Apollo, you see it on television, you know they gonna wreck shop. If you go up there and kill it, they about to boo you off of that joint. And I remember getting through my set, killing it, got a standing ovation, and I ain't never go back. I'm 1-0. That's my.
You said that was it?
Hey, dog, I ain't taking no chances with this Apollo, dog. The only time I went back was to do a big charity event like years later when I was already established, but I never went back, because they were like, if you do well, they were like, come back and do it again, I'm like, yeah, okay.
Hell no.
Hell no. Dude,
I'm leaving it undefeated.
I'm 1-0, baby. I am not going to take no chance to come back here and get scarred up in here.
So tell us how. I mean, we're going way back. So tell us, how did you get started in comedy?
So I was, I'm from St. Louis. My mother's a school teacher, so I basically had to do education. I went to college, got a degree, did the whole thing, got a job, and I started doing comedy because another comedian, he was a friend of a friend. But he liked stuff that I would say. He was like, yo, dog, you funny in hell. He asked me, can I use that? And I'm like, man, I got a job, dog. I don't know. What is it? But then he came back one time and just would break down the money. He was like, yo, I made $1,400 this week. I made $1,100 that week. I said, doing what? He's like, telling jokes. You can do this. And he signed me up for a comedy competition, told me my name was on the list. I can go if I want to go. And if I do, then, he helped me kind of work my set out. And first time I ever did it, I won $500, and that was it. I was, hey,
You
man.
didn't go back and quit the job.
No, I wasn't that. I ain't make that much money. I had a real job, dog, like with benefits and shit. Like I get my teeth fixed. I knew $500 wasn't gonna do all that. But the first time I won $3,000, I was ready to quit. Then I was like, that was what they call Instagram rapper phone money back then. $3,000 back then, I would have been on. If they had the gram back then, I'd have been like, "What's up?"
Okay, so you got started that way.
Yeah.
Now, how did you get involved with the Kings of Comedy? Because I know all y'all probably did circus together. And you got to know each other, and y'all was like the biggest comedians at the time.
Yeah, that was a special time. I mean, comedy had definitely started to grow. Like I came in the game in '87. And then, black comedy really started to really pop off late 80s with shows like BT's Comic View. And then like 92, I believe Def Jam came on. And so when Def Jam came on HBO, that kind of solidified, the urban comedian in this real way. But before then, the black comedy clubs had started to grow.
Right. Right.
Because people like Robin Harris, who was my greatest inspiration, the late Robin Harris had the Comedy Act Theater out here, and then they had one in Atlanta, and then people started boasting. They had damn, all jokes aside, in Chicago, Vuku Ray, Steve Harvey used to have this joint called Vuku Ray in Dallas. And so that set up where you can start to go and work and just be a black comedian. You ain't have to worry about the room being like all white people and you up there. Like, so that was all late 80s, and that started to boom. And so I got popular pretty quick. And then, so the Kings happened kind of like shortly after that. Like, both Steve and I were always good friends. We were on the Steve Harvey show together.
Right.
And I used to be one of his acts because he had a club in Dallas as well. At Dallas, he ended up doing the Steve Harvey Comedy Club, and then when he would be gone, going out making his big money, he had me come down and be the host. So that was my second little town, and then back then Dallas was they just got to Mavericks, so people like Doug Smith and Jimmy Jackson. I remember Jimmy Jackson was a rookie, came to town. I remember he came and picked me up one time in like the 750 BMW, you got, it's girls, I'm hanging with NBA players, man. I'm living my life, man. I know CC be listening, but anyway, man, I ain't messing with you, B. I ain't trying to throw you out there, dog. When it used to be, you straight now, Now I'm grown.
Hey, look, man.
Yeah.
Like you said, it was NBA.
Yeah, back in the day.
Yeah, back in the day. The good thing back in the day, though, said they didn't have cell phones with cameras and videos and all that stuff. So it was cool.
Yeah, exactly.
Nowadays, you get busted in a heartbeat.
Yeah, no, it's terrible.
Doing something
yes.
But Jimmy Jackson, one of my favorite brothers.
Yeah, man.
One of our other golfers.
Exactly, man.
Get out there and play a little bit. But I love the fact that when I saw y'all, four brothers on stage doing, Kings of Comedy, and all y'all had your own different style.
Yeah, man.
You know what I'm saying? And it was great to just listen to y'all back in the day, and the late great Bernie Mac, who was awesome as well.
B was one of those. He was just one of those. He like really meant so much to the culture. Like, people say that about certain individuals, but as a comedian, as a personality, as a way that he did things. Like, I remember when I first went to New York, I met Bernie, like I was telling the story about winning $3,000. So coming from St. Louis, they used to have this thing called a Miller Genuine comedy competition in Chicago. Chicago is big city, big move. You got to go up there. A lot of comedians, Bernie, Adele Givens, George Wilborn, Tony Schofield, legendary comedians that I grew up with, that's friends of mine, and these guys. But Bernie was ahead of us. He was that one grade ahead, if you will.
Right.
And he had won many times. He was the king of Chicago. And I remember, coming up and auditioning, you have to do these little trials to get to the championship of this comedy competition. And he saw me one night. He was like, little fella, you all right? You gonna be okay. You know what I'm saying? Just keep doing your motherfucking thing up there. You let these motherfuckers know. You do your man. I toured with the motherfucker. I toured with his ass for 4 years, so it's like constantly, day in, day out, on the tour bus, on the planes. B Mac was like, but again, when I remember, one of my great memories was when I was going to do Def Jam. Kind of shortly after that was. He had already did Def Jam, and he had like an okay set, I guess. And, we went to lunch. We in New York, we go out to lunch, we meet, we leave the hotel, go to lunch. And I always say that so that people think that we was at like Tavern on the Green or something like that, but we was at Sabaro's,
Okay.
So we just got a slice,
Slice of pizza.
Slice a piece of some chips.
Yeah, right,
but we went to lunch, it was a
right.
lunch we met. We had a lunch. And I loved when people be like, oh, God, him and Bernie Mac, where you guys, did you go to Chez Roger? Yes. Sabaro's. Yeah, exactly. Got to slice those in. $4. We good. So then, he gave me the advice like, yo, you can't, he literally was saying it like, you can't be scared, you can't show New York you scared. I'm gonna let them know I ain't scared of you, you know. And that was his intention of kind of telling me like the first time he got intimidated up here, and then he walked out and basically did that on his show and became what I call the most famous 7 minutes of comedy ever. The I ain't scared of you motherfuckers. That show made him a boom. The whole room get done. Kick it. You don't understand.
And you know what? I think that was the first time I saw Bernie Mac.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa.
But he had did Def Jam before. He had did so many other things before, and that's the difference of like, you know, finding your confidence and knowing who you are, you know, when you go, and he was gone. I mean, he was from that show, he wasn't our peer anymore. Like, he literally went from being like Bernie Mac you can call to Bernie Mac, let me call your people so I can call you. Right? And, you know, he'd be cool about it, but you still got to talk to his people though. Like, you know, but he was busy. He was hella busy. Everything was popping. He ended up getting shows, and then we came back around for, you know, so as fate would have it, by the time the Def Jam idea came back around, we was all, you know, I had did my elevation, and I was up there in the game, and me, him, and Steve, and then so for us to do this kind of, you know, like what I call rock and roll comedy, because it was like 4 big names doing arenas, and there was a few people that had did arena tours before. Eddie Murphy, of course, Martin Lawrence, Dice Clay. Right. These are the people I know that had did arena tours, and then we came along and kind of did it like a band, like, you know, where it was like 4 people, big night, everybody loved it. We toured it for 4 years total, but we did it. We had toured. We had been out maybe 2 years before we ever shot the movie.
Is that right?
Yeah. So it was interesting. We used to talk about this too, because we was actually one of the second highest grossing live event, but never got any press. So until we did the movie, nobody really knew we existed. We didn't have Hollywood favor. So that's why Bernie do that whole thing on Kings of Comedy about y'all scared of me. Y'all don't want me to have no show.
Right.
Because at that time, nobody was checking for us.
Right.
It's crazy.
Unbelievable. So you go from that, and at this time, you're still doing the Steve Harvey Show.
Steve Harvey Show, yep.
So you were doing a bunch of TV at that time, which I thought Steve Harvey Show was fantastic. That was great.
Yeah.
In a high school setting, you know, y'all teachers.
Yeah, exactly.
Fantastic. And then you go from there to your first major film role was Madagascar?
Madagascar. Well, Madagascar was my first. It wasn't even my first animation. My first movie feature is a movie called Ride, and it was Snoop Dogg. It was Malik Yoba. It was a lot of people in it, like the John Witherspoon, legendary John Witherspoon played my brother. We played the bus drivers. And we, you know, that was my first time being in a movie.
Okay.
And we shot a movie in Jacksonville, Florida. And and so this is one of those moments in life, Tariq. So, you know, you like, all right, cool. Snoop in the movie. We go up. Snoop like, yeah, you know, you smoke, you know, and of course, you know, you like, you ain't gonna say, you ain't gonna say no. It's Snoop Dogg. It's like if Bob Marley asks you, do you smoke? You like, hell yeah, I'm coming. Or Willie Nelson, I call him it's like a whole Mount Rushmore of smokers that if you say you smoke with them, just go and do it.
3 of them.
Yeah, just go and do it. You know, just don't even worry about it, I guess, unless you definitely don't smoke. If you don't do it, don't do it.
Right.
I go and smoke with Snoop. This fool had me so high that I was in my hotel room. That we was in the hotel. I went in his room. When I walk out of this room and the door closed, I don't know where I am. We in the same hotel. I literally was in the hallway for like 20 minutes. Like,
you just standing there.
I didn't know what was going on.
You know
I was like, this fool got some Snoop Dogg that you smoke anyway. Classic, but that was my first movie. When we did the pickups to that movie, we shot what they called like some extra scenes. We shot them out here, and my wife did wardrobe, and that's where I met my wife. So, my first movie, I was all in. I basically came out here and blew LA complete. That played it all wrong. Like this was my first movie, man. Like,
So you gonna go all out?
I went all out. Got my shorty. I did the movie. I'm a movie star. Got my shorty with me. We good. I'm done with LA now. I can just live at this point.
So that was the first animated movie?
No, Ride was the first real movie. So the first
animated movie.
First animated movie was Ice Age.
Oh, okay.
So the first Ice Age was with Ray Romano and John Leguizamo. That was good. I did a voice. I was one of the rhinos or something in there. And then Madagascar's came along, and those were, of course, huge. We did 3 of those. Really big, big film, DreamWorks, Katzenberg, it was just a big deal. And, of course, they had that, crazy voice talent like Chris Rock and Jada and David Schwimmer from Friends and Sacha Baron Cohen, who Borat, who ended up becoming a superstar. But that was the space in which you started to use your voice, and I've done several since then. Planes, right. and then the Proud Family that's coming back out. I played Bobby Proud on there, so that's always a cool space because this is how you kind of stay relevant to the younger generation, right? You do these animated things, and then kids know your voice, and it's so interesting how kids are keen to it because I remember meeting some little kids like when Madagascar first came out, and I came into the house and I said something, and this little kid just stopped. It was like could not put it together, but knew.
You heard that voice before, yeah.
Knew that voice. That little kid was like. And then I said the line from the movie, and he was like, "Oh, that's you." Crazy. That was crazy. So,
wow. Well, I remember the movie with Don Cheadle. I can't remember the name of it though.
Oh, Talk to Me.
Talk to Me.
Yeah.
With Don Cheadle. And you played a radio DJ in that movie.
Yeah,
right? And he was having problems with his girl.
Yes.
Who we know.
And
you
Rise.
said, it's the voice. It's the voice.
Yeah. Hey, what are you going to say?
I love that movie, though. Talk to Me, I thought that movie was a great movie, man. And it just, I know it didn't get the type of the eyeballs on it that they probably wanted to, but I thought it was a great movie.
It was. And I mean, of course, whenever you get an opportunity to work with dynamic actors like that, Don Cheadle, one of our greatest, one of our best actors, of course, a great friend of mine. And but a great actor, Taraji, of course, has proven to be, a force to be reckoned with. And then Casey Lemons she was an actress and then became a great director, black lady that a lot of people didn't know that she directed that movie and why it should have, even got more acclaim. And the story was great. But we spent a few years trying to take my character and make a series out of it because the guy played Nighthawk was actually a gangster that hid out on the radio. But he did like real gangster stuff and ended up doing this whole big like Coachella festival where he robbed a mob for about $17 million back then, some crazy stuff, and disappeared. The whole true story is that, they found a car burnt on the side of the road with a body in it, but nobody believed it's him. And he disappeared with the mob money and that's the real story of the dude that I played in the movie. So we've been trying to sell this as a limited series for about 6 years, man. We just can't get it sold yet, man. So
what about the part you played in Get Shorty? Well, I mean,
that's
so cool. And that was your gangster.
Yeah.
Type thing as well. And I love that one as well.
And it was the sequel.
Was great.
The movie I was in was called Be Cool, which is the sequel to Get Shorty. Yeah.
Yes.
But definitely, man. Again, another one of those. This is what I say. This town is definitely about affiliation and association, and you get lucky. But F. Gary Gray, again, another one of our great African American directors, happened to see him, and he wanted to do something different with the role. He was like, I can hire anybody to play a gangster. I want somebody that's a gangster that I wouldn't think is a gangster.
Right.
that could play this gangster.
Right.
And then he was just like, Sid. And he called me. He was like, yo, Sid, you think you can play this role? I was like, dude, I'm ready. I'm from St. Louis, man. Like, I know these guys.
That role fit you to a T. It was a great role. Now, I want to go back a little bit because we talked about, things you've done from a economy standpoint. How you've blossomed into this mega movie star now, and you still do your stand up. How did you get the name Cedric the Entertainer? Now, I already know because me and you talked about this on the golf course, but that's why I want to ask you because I want you to reveal this
That's
to
hilarious.
some of the people.
Well, you know, like most comedians, when you starting out, you trying to figure out what it is, right? So my government name is Cedric Kyles. I thought it was too formal. I didn't really like that on stage. Somehow it felt very formal. You know, I didn't really want to go by that, so I was like said, right? You know, the easy ones,
Right.
And then so it was a dude that used to go by Kodak, and I thought his name was dope. So I was like, all right, so let me come up with something that's like that, that's happy, make you laugh, start with a C. Oh, Cheerio. So
It wasn't Cedric the Cheerio. It
no,
was
just Cheerio, dog. Like I was known as Cheerio. I had a chain, had a necklace and everything with the necklace on it with the Cheerio. So it's Cheerio, Cheerio, right, man? I'm out. I'm building a little name for myself, and somewhere out of nowhere, I get a cease and desist letter from General Mills. Cause they was like Cheerio cereal was like, no sir, that's our name, Playboy. Like, nah,
Hey, stop.
now, ceased and desist. Know what that mean? Don't say it no more. Like,
When you first got that letter, though, did you think it was a joke, though?
oh, you know, of
like,
course,
hey, come
because
on,
you
man.
like, you know, one. It come very official, like
Right.
it's the one that got the green seal,
Yeah,
and you
yeah.
gotta open it up. You like, so this ain't no joke. You already know,
right.
and you like, it ain't tax time. I paid my child support.
Okay.
Oh, what could this be?
Right.
Got my name on it, everything. General Mills Counsel, the attorneys for you know whatever.
Right.
It's official words. It's words in there you got to look up. Hearing too. Oh, habeas corpus. Oh, this is serious. Oh, okay. Oh, so, and that was it. They was like, yo, dog, straight up quit it. Like, stop it. Don't say it no more. And I was like, that was it.
And then how did you come up with Cedric the Entertainer?
So then the entertainer kind of came by happenstance. I started just going, you know, I was back going by Cedric, but I didn't know really where I wanted to go. Just call me Cedric. And then the guy it was a show where, you know, comedians get paid in time. Mm-hmm. So you get paid, you know, if you do 10, 15 minutes, you the opening act, you get $300, $350. If you the middle act and you do 30, 40 minutes, you get $600, $650. And if you do a 45 to an hour, you get the most, whatever that number is. Usually in the comedy clubs, that's, you know, 1,000 and up, right? Okay. So I had a job. I worked at State Farm. I was a claims adjuster. I knew money, and I was like, I need to make at least $650 if this gonna make sense. I can't really make $300 and be missing work and all that stuff. I gotta do this $650 a pop, you know, because again, I told you the dude gave me game. He was like, I was making $1,100, all right. So I'm like, okay, I'm new. If you made $1,100 and $1,400, I need to do the $650 number, and I can stack them up, right, and then I'll be all right. So the dude, this guy, he was introducing everybody as the next comedian. The next comedian coming up, y'all. And I didn't have a lot of jokes at the time. But because of my style, I would sing like a whole Luther Vandross song, and so that I can get 30 minutes worth of time on stage. So, you know, I'd be like, you know, I'd do a joke and be like, hey, y'all like Luther? You know what I'm saying? So you're going to be, well, come on, y'all. Well.
Just trying to get that clock in.
Still in love. So in love, still in love. I'm gonna get 30 minutes out of this. You ain't not getting ready to tell me I went up there 30 minutes, man. You paying me, brother. So I just told the dude, don't call me a comedian, call me an entertainer. And so when he went up, he was like, "This next guy is the entertainer, Cedric the Entertainer." And then I went up, I had a killer show, I got a standing ovation, and when I called off, he called me Cedric the Entertainer again, and I just kept it. I was like, that's the name right there.
Oh, that's cool.
And so I just rocked with it since then.
That's pretty cool. Hey, guys, listen, we're going to come back. We're going to take a quick break with my boy Cedric the Entertainer. We're going to come back because our sponsors got to do a little something. We'll see you in a minute. Today's episode of Off the Dribble, the Byron Scott Show, is brought to you by She Who Golfs, a foundation focused on educating and inspiring African-American women and women of color to play and love golf. Visit shewhogolfs.com today to learn more about their world-class golf seminars, golf tournaments, community events, retreats, and leadership conferences. She Who Golfs, empowering women one swing at a time. Okay, guys, we back with another edition of Off the Dribble with your boy B. Scott and my boy today, Cedric the Entertainer. Man, we done already found out some stuff that y'all probably never knew about. You know, I found out a long time ago on the golf course, and I was dying laughing about the name change and all that good stuff. But now I want to go into, said 2010, you went behind the camera. It was your first time going and doing, being a director. How was that for you?
You know, I mean, it was one of those things. I think, I grew. You grow as a person. You start to think about it. We had this little small movie that was, an opportunity to do where we were producing. I produced other movies, Johnson Family Vacation, Honeymooners, Codename the Cleaner. So these movies that I've been in, I produced them. So this was a movie with a young star that we liked. It was a different idea. And I was like, I feel like I could tell this story. So we put together the movie, and I the first time directed. And it was fun because, one, as a comedian, you kind of observational anyway. Mm-hmm. And, as a kind of comedian I am, I'm looking around the room, seeing things. But you realize how much work it is, to direct. Because, one, you got to be in the movie when it starts, the pre-production, you got to shoot the movie, and then you got to do the post-production. And you realize I'm used to just being the star. Right. I'm used to being there on the days that you shoot and then you gone. Right. Like, I'm not going to be sitting around doing just in a room with a bunch of people like, all right, run it over again. Is there a way for him to, we can stop it before he say, shut up, bitch? No, he say it every time. Right. Oh, God. We trying to get this PG rating, man. This dude, he say shut up, bitch, every time. He say shut up, bitch, every time. Damn. Well, can we stop it before then? Will it make sense? Right. You just doing, it's just a puzzle. Like, it's literally a 1,000-piece puzzle of putting a movie together. Right. And you don't really see that part when you're doing it. When we see them on screen, we don't realize that they just been shooting, and it's just footage, and it's just craziness, and the light ain't right, and his shirt ain't tucked in, and you thought he did it the best one he took, but he had some on his tooth, and he don't want it, and he the one, his team said, y'all can't use that one. You be like, oh. And so, but it was great though, because it was one of those spaces where you grow as a you grow as a human being. You give yourself a different challenge, and and I think that's really what I enjoyed about the space. Yeah, I know you're gonna continue to produce. You're gonna continue to act and do your stand up, but will you do more of the directing part? Because I know how hard that is, and how much time consuming it is. I think so. It's definitely one of those things that I believe that I would want to transfer into as you get later in your career, where you have the option at least to where, it ain't about me having to, to get up there and carry the bag, right? Younger, newer, more interesting talent shows up in the world. I mean, I'm always going to, be happy to hold my lane down, but I do love seeing young talent and being able to, help them get their ideas off. So that's what I really care about. So it's mainly why I produce, because it's easier for me to kind of help you just shape an idea and then put you with the right team. But certain things, I do feel like I'm gonna direct another episode of my show, The Neighborhood, this season. And so you direct some television, and the idea, if you can direct pilots, this is what I learned this too. In TV, if you direct the pilot, then you literally connected to the show for the life of the show. So think about somebody who directed Friends. That's all they ever had to do was do the first one. And they, yes, exactly. If you do Seinfeld, the first one,
right,
and the show go, and it lasts forever, you get a piece of that show in perpetuity like everybody else.
Right.
Just by being the director of the first one. So that's another move that I want. Like, I want that.
When's that move happening?
I want that move. Like,
I know you're working on some move like that.
Yeah, I got a couple of cool. Like, we're developing. We got a couple of shows that we do now. We got on the Bounce Network. I produce this show called Johnson, which is great, about a group of 30-something black men. Then we just sold the kind of female counterpart to it called Finding Happy, about 30-something-year-old females and what they go through in that lifestyle. And so in those shows, I'll probably, take the shot at like, all right, let me direct the pilot. I'm already, heavily inundated on the show because I'm the, executive producer that brought it and sold the deal and everything. But it's still that thing where you like just creatively, what can I do to shape this?
Right.
Yeah.
I want to go back a little bit because I was such a fan of the Steve Harvey show when you guys were on there.
Yeah.
And I just remember watching it for so many years. You being the PE teacher and Steve being a teacher and the principal and it was such a cool cast. What was the best part of doing the Steve Harvey show for so many years?
Well, like I say, one for me, me and Steve, we like big brother, little brother. Like I'd learned the comedy business from him. He was my partner. We knew each other in Dallas, and then came out. And then, of course, that amazing cast. Wendy Raquel Robinson, who played the principal, and then Terry Vaughn, who played Levita Alizé Jenkins, legendary character. Yeah. She beautiful, but again, it was one of those things when you come to Hollywood, you recognize we had the legendary Stan Lathan direct all our shows, who's now known for directing all of Chappelle's specials, and then Winifred Harvey, a black woman who had came up on the Fresh Prince and all those kind of shows, and she was there. So we had this very uniquely black experience, like where we was at work, we was doing big time work, but you surrounded by people that's like all pros, and they get you. You don't have to do nothing extra. So, but everybody professionals, like legendary professionals. So, it was just a really fun vibe, man. We actually, we laughed all the time. We got to work in. We was able to bring Ron Isley on the show and do the high tops.
God, TK
Carter, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Jonathan Slocum.
Yeah.
Yeah, like all these like dope cats, man. That was dope, man. So that was like the real cool thing about that. I think more than anything. So
yeah, no, I love the Steve Harvey show. So you've had, like I said, 40 plus movies and stuff that you've done. Tell me an actor and an actress that you haven't worked with that you would love to work with on a project.
Interesting. Wow, one that that I work with but ain't really get to work with is Eddie Murphy was one of my heroes. Now we did Dr. Dolittle, and I was just a voice in the movie, and he was the real person. I was one of the animals.
Right.
So I got to go to the premiere with him, but I didn't really, I ain't never do no scene with him, so it was one of those kind of things where you like, oh man, like I love Eddie like that. Sam Jackson, people that I just rock with. Of course, all the big dogs, Pacino, De Niro. Like I would love to be in a movie with these guys. Like I say, I had the opportunity to do with Travolta and Clooney. I did that movie Intolerable Cruelty and did some stuff with George Clooney. That was dope. And then on the acting side, somebody that early on I worked with Whoopi Goldberg on this movie Kingdom Come. We had a really great time. So she's again just somebody that was fantastic and this legendary character. But now, I mean, Angela Bassett, you can name them, dog. Like any of these legends, man. They Viola,
Viola
I
Davis.
can act with. I believe I can act with them
Yeah, Viola
in my.
Davis.
And I actually had a chance to be in Ma Rainey,
Oh,
which was
really?
crazy. I was cast for Ma Rainey, and they kept moving the. They kept moving the date. They had to move the date several times, uh, just because of COVID. It kept
Right,
moving
right.
around, and it ran into when I came back to shoot on the neighborhood.
Right.
And the neighborhood was trying to accommodate me for it. They moved it. They was like, all right, well, they need said for. I need said for. They needed me for 3 weeks, so we moved my production schedule once. They was like, cool.
Right.
And then they was, we pushed a week. Can we move it again? So they moved it again.
Ooh.
The production schedule.
They was really trying to help out, huh?
They was trying to help.
Yeah.
And then they came and needed to move it one more time, and they was like, we can't. And it was like, and then I was like, well, can I go and come back? And it was
Right.
like, the movie ain't like that. It's a play. Like you can't really not be there because everybody, even if you ain't got words, it's not like you got to be there because it's like a play. Like
Right.
you got to be there. So I lost out. That was it. I was like, boy, that was one of them hurt. Because Denzel was producing that. And, you know, I had become cool with Denzel, and he actually thought that was going to be a unique casting to put me in there. He was like, again, it was one of those people that was like, he's seasoned, like, yo, I see what you bring.
Yeah,
You do something a little different than what I would expect, and I think you'll kill this role.
Yeah. You named some of the greatest actors and actresses of all times, and everyone that you just named, I talked to Vivica the other day about that were my favorites.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, you talk about Robert De Niro, Al Pacino.
Yeah.
You talk about Angela Bassett, who's I happen to be in Magic's party.
Oh,
his
yeah.
60th birthday party in San Tropez.
Y'all was there?
Yeah, yeah, that's
Yeah,
right,
yeah,
man.
dog. That was legendary.
And I ran into Angela and I said, Angela, I got to take a picture with you. I said, I love you. I ain't gonna lie. I've been loving you for a long time, and we took a picture and we had a good time. And I told Courtney, I said, yo, dog, I love your wife, dog. It's all good, but I love your wife. And he happened to tell me he's a damn New England Patriot fan. I almost wanted to smack him.
Yeah, see what
I was
happens.
like, Courtney, man, I don't understand. You
Explain
being a
them little
Patriot
hats.
fan. But yeah. Wearing them damn little tight
Yeah,
hats,
the little
that's what
tight
it
ass
is.
hats. That's what explains
And
them.
Viola is just unbelievable. When
No.
you watch her on, TV,
Anything.
big screen, she is unbelievable.
No, she pure power on there, and just again, and there's so many dynamic actresses and people that we have in our society. Like even I think about that was about Ma Rainey would have been that opportunity too for me to work with the late Chadwick. You know what I mean?
Yes,
Like all these
yes.
things was like, you hate you missed out on, just
Yeah.
those true life experiences. But yeah, Angela is just getting prettier though.
Man,
That's
that's
like what
unbelievable.
happens there.
I
Like
know. You older
she
you get
get
finer.
doper. Like you like, oh my
I'm like,
god.
damn. I mean, I took a picture
Yeah.
and I was like, boy, Angela, you still fine. You're just beautiful.
And she's just so classy
She's so
and
sweet,
cool
ain't
and
she?
kind.
She-
Yeah. And so yeah, she's so like 100 about it
Yeah,
that it
she's so cool.
it makes it like, okay.
Yeah,
You can't be everything. Can you? Like, boy, stop. She'd be like, quit
just-
playing.
Yeah, she is by far one of the dopest ladies that I've
Yeah.
met in that industry. I mean, nothing but respect and love for her.
Yeah, no doubt, man, for sure.
You know.
And I did, like it's people that I love. Like I did Cadillac Records, and Beyonce was in the movie, and Jeffrey Wright, and so these are dope actors that you really glad that you had. Adrian Brody, like people that you still see out there smoking, killing it, and you like, yo, yeah, I rocked with them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
You've been around, Sad. You've been around.
Yeah,
Let me ask you
OG.
this, because you mentioned it a little while ago, but I don't know if a whole lot of people know that you flat out can sing.
Oh
Have you
yeah,
ever thought about doing an album or a single?
Of
Is that
course,
something
of course.
on your radar right
yeah,
now?
of course. I mean, all singers when and then, of course you had like people like Jamie transfer,
Right,
and
right.
put out big records and all these things. So, but I've recorded a couple of songs and like still playing with it. So like I'm still vocalizing and training. Actually, on working on a project that's kind of secret, but I feel like it'll be a unique way for me to introduce myself nowadays, and that people can hear my voice and then decide like, I could buy a
Right.
record from him and
Right.
believe that to be true.
Right.
Like
Right.
I think Jamie got more sincere once he did Ray, and you saw him play this kind of magic. He did like other records. I don't know if Blame It on Alcohol was out around that time, but I think it came out
I
after
think
that.
yeah, I think so.
Cause he did that. You give me money.
Yeah.
That was on Kanye
Yeah, that
Go
was
Digger.
Kanye, yeah.
So that was a little bit before.
Right.
And then you heard him saying he could sing, even though he had another
Unpredictable,
album
yeah,
out before then.
Yeah,
Yeah, he had a
Unpredictable. I remember that too,
yeah. Unpredictable was dope. And
Yeah.
then yeah. But then by the time he came with Blame It on the Alcohol, it was like,
It had already blown up too.
well, that was a hit. That was that hit.
Yeah.
And then now he just out there, t-shirt and panties on, and he had all kinds of joints. You know what I'm saying? He's like
Jamie just having fun,
Jamie Foxx, man. You don't get to that's our black Hugh Hefner, if you will.
Yeah, we already know he's the king of throwing parties. We do know that about Jamie.
Oh, them parties. Yeah, I give myself a curfew. I walk in, Jamie. I go to Jamie parties going, look, I'm gonna set my alarm. I need
the hell out of here
I need to
this
get
time,
about it because at some point in time it's gonna be a point of no return. You're gonna just be here.
Said I was there one time and I can't remember half the shit I did at that party.
No, you just end up being there. Wake up, sun up. You still out there.
Yeah. He had the nerve to call me the next day, like, yeah, we had a shooting game. I whipped your ass shooting.
Yeah.
Like, I don't remember. But I saw the tape. And I was shooting air balls. I was drunk as hell.
Yeah.
And to this day, he ain't gave me a rematch.
That's funny. See,
I
that's
said,
the move right there.
Do it when I'm sober, and let's see if you can beat me shooting when I'm sober. So he ain't gave me a rematch ever since. So I'm gonna get his ass back out there one of these days. Best believe that.
Yeah, I remember he had a house in Vegas, and we went and we was out there playing ball, and so one of his boys was out there. I remember the famous joke I said, because one of his boys had some cheap tennis shoes on. And I said, boy, you out here some Air Gretzky's. Because he's like sliding all over the court.
Like he's on ice.
Boy, all his boys died. I was like, I don't know, them ain't Jordans. You got on some Gretzky's, dog. You out here sliding like you got on, what these
like
cheap
on
is.
ice, huh?
These super cheap tennis shoes you got on, bro.
Oh, that's funny. Now let me ask you about your time doing hosting. Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? How was that?
Again, one of the big American, game shows ever, and so it was Regis, Meredith, then me. So, it was one of these things, man, where you go. I lived in New York to do it. One of the great experiences because like. They set you up, you go, you got an apartment, you got a car service, I'm in New York, man, living it up. And it was just really fantastic, man. Like you have fun. It's a lot of work. You do 6 shows a day. So you come in and you working, man. Like you come in the morning, you knocking out.
Day,
yeah, we was doing 5. Some days we would do 6, but we do 5 a day. We do 3 in the morning, do a lunch, and then do 2 and be out.
You done you got the shows for the whole week, basically.
Yeah,
right?
But we would do that every day because they
Right.
shot like 150 something shows. So you hustling. Like it's a lot of TV, but it was fun because you got the game people. It's all these new personalities every day showing up. These different. So you just got to have fun with it. You know what I'm saying? That was the big thing about being on a game show is really relaxing into it and having a good time. And so. We had a good run, man, and then they wanted to. I was actually going to do it again, but then they wanted to move it to Connecticut, and I was like,
You ain't going to Connecticut.
I'm all about New York, man. So if I'm gonna live on the East Coast, I'm in New York. I'm not going to go to Connecticut, bro.
I understand. Listen, I got 2 more questions, really.
Yeah.
One of them is. Tell the people. Well, it's not really a question. I guess it is a question, but you have so many things going on. You do so much for the community.
Yeah.
Your golf tournament. Things of that nature. Tell the people some of the things that you do. For the community. The money that you raise for some of your organizations.
Yeah.
And foundations that you're involved in.
Yeah, again, like I said, I was raised in a single parent household. My mother was a school teacher, very very into like just helping people, really concerned about that. So I started a scholarship in 94, 96, where we pay and send kids off for their first year of college, and so we've been raising money for that. The Cedric the Entertainer Scholarship. Then so I do that mainly in St. Louis, in my hometown where I'm from, and I used to do it at my alma mater, my old high school. My high school ended up folding into a different high school system, and it didn't feel as natural anymore. Like I didn't know none of the administrators had no real connection to it. But so we just started taking it citywide at this point. So we still give out a lot of scholarships, send a lot of kids to school. Then my mother passed away in 2015, and so we started to do. She had cancer, so then I did a women's health pavilion at St. Mary's Hospital in St. Louis. So got my mom's name out on the front of the building, and we do all this women's health stuff. So any single parents, young mothers, y'all got sicknesses, illnesses, we got vans that come get you. You go there, we got an educational facility on the inside for teachers, for doctors and nurses to come in there and get educated at seminars. So on the inside of the building on the outside of the building is her name, and on the inside of the building is her name in the educational center. So we work hard to donate to that. Many charities that I contribute to, from Boys and Girls Club, which they're doing an educational center. I did my tournament in Camarillo many years. That was my first golf course that I joined, where I was like, oh, I'm somebody. I'm a member. Yeah, well, look at me. We can go up in there and have lunch. And so, hey, Bob, hey, Tom, is that Nancy and Joe? Hey, guys, let's get together. I don't know, fucking country club talk. So and then I got a black ass wife talking about, I don't know the people. I ain't going over there. You're like, baby, come on, we're in a country club.
Baby, pretend.
Yeah, you gotta pretend you're a country club. Yeah, they pretend.
They're pretending to know you.
Yeah. So anyway, we got they're doing so at the Camarillo Boys and Girls Club, we're doing an educational facility, new building. We got a wing that has the Kyles family, Lorna and Cedric Kyles on it, and then Brotherhood Crusade, Wendy Raquel, who is she has Amazing Grace Conservatory, where she's been for over 20 something years, if not 30, doing theater in the hood. Like, she's got a great place. We support her. It's a few great charities that we get behind all the time. Like, continue just to want to see people grow. And then I'm doing a wine. I got to make sure I get you doing a wine that I did, again, named after my mom. Her name was Rosetta. I got the wine's name Zeta, and Zeta wine. We now will be contributing to Red Rose Reads, which is literacy programs. That she was a school teacher, so we'll do these all across the world to help people learn to read, both children and adults. Something that she was very into. So, and it's just my younger sister myself, who's a professor at Pepperdine, and we hold it down and keep it tight, man. So that's my main philanthropic efforts that I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You see, all of them pretty much has to do with education.
Yeah.
Getting these young
Yeah,
people to read,
exactly,
write,
man.
and understand that you're getting that high school diploma, getting that college degree.
Yeah,
It's
man.
going to take you a whole lot farther than I always tell kids than bouncing a basketball or telling jokes or whatever. We're fortunate, obviously.
Yeah, for sure.
But, if they don't get that, then it's hard to be successful.
Yeah, we got to lift up. I mean, theoretically, we live in this society now where it's so instant. You look at Instagram and everybody just want to ball. They want to see what the images and live the images that they see, right? And so it's hard to get people to understand that, using your brain, growing your brain, even when you're older. Like, I still am an avid reader. I still read quite a bit. I still have the desire to go to college. You know what I mean? But these are things that. So I'm always very, very in support. Even with my kids, of telling them you can't really stop. There's no landing place. People feel like, oh, I got that money now, I'm good. No, why?
You ain't.
Why? You living a life.
Right.
Let it turn up. Do something else.
Right.
Turn up. Like, you 40, all right? And you
Okay.
gonna
Right. Okay.
you 50, okay.
Right.
You said see people still out here getting it, so it don't really matter, right? You see somebody like Irvin, be 60 and going fat, or Sam Jackson be 70,
Exactly.
be
Still
gone
going,
again.
yeah.
You like gone
Yeah.
again, like
Yeah.
you like, oh, he not resting. We already know who he is, but
Right.
he not sitting around like, hey everybody, I'm Sam Jackson. Like, no, I'm at work, dog.
grinding.
I'm out here.
Keep
I'm
grinding.
outside. As
Right.
the kids say.
Grinding. I always tell people, listen, when you get to the point where you think you know it all, or you've learned everything you can learn, then you need to just quit. If you think you got to the point where you know everything it is to know about that business, like
Yeah.
coaching for me,
Yeah,
if I ever got to the point where I felt I knew it all, it's time for me to quit, because
yeah,
every day you continue to learn.
for sure.
And if you don't continue to learn, then something's wrong.
No,
So I tell kids all the time is, listen, as you're going through this process, you're not going to ever get to the point where you know it all. You're not going to ever get there. So keep,
you can't tell the youth that though. I mean,
I do.
Yeah,
they
me
don't
too.
listen, maybe, but
Yeah,
know what
but
I'm
yeah,
saying? But,
I do
at least I
too.
got my
But they,
2 cents in.
in their mind, they know it all already. What are you talking about?
Yeah, you're right about that. Sid. You're right about that. My last question. Now, this is something I normally ask, most of my guests. I want you to tell us a little bit of a story. It could be a sad one, happy one. It's up to you. That a whole lot of people would not know. That you've probably told some of your closest friends or something. It could be funny. James Worthy told us a story that he was afraid to live alone when he was a rookie, and nobody really knew about it until he came home one night and he had balloons. They forgot he had a party, and them helium balloons started to come down a little bit.
Oh,
And he opened the door and ran into the balloons and started swinging because he
that's
somebody else.
hilarious.
He thought somebody else was in the house until
Yeah.
he turned the lights on. But he told me, he said, "But B, I beat them balloons' ass.
That's
I
funny
beat
as
their ass,
hell.
But he had one of those funny type stories. Tell us a story, that a whole lot of people didn't know.
Well, I'm not really into pets.
Okay.
Like, because as a kid, I wanted a dog really bad. And I had a younger sister, and I really wanted this dog, and I wanted a dog. And so then my sister got in on my dog.
Okay.
And she was like, I want a dog too, Mom. And basically, they let her pick the dog. I wanted this dog, and basically I lost out.
Okay.
Because she my little sister, she picked the dog.
Okay.
We thought the dog was a boy, the dog was a girl.
Okay.
So she named the dog Tasha.
Okay.
And I hated the dog name. So one day the dog used to be outside in the garage, and I guess the dog pretty much knew I didn't like him.
Mm-hmm.
And I let the dog go, and he ran away. And then I just always act like that I didn't.
You didn't know where
I
Tasha
don't
went?
know
How Tasha got out?
But the dog, but I still have this vivid memory that the dog knew that I didn't rock with him, because the dog was running away, and he got to the fence and turned back and looked at me like, "All right, motherfucker,
You gonna let me go?"
You see it? Boom. That motherfucker was gone. He ran out that little fence, and we ain't seen Tasha since. And I never really wanted a dog ever since then. And so every time my kids wanted dogs, I'd be like, I don't give them no damn dogs. Like, I don't, because Tasha just ran away. I started to like Tasha a little bit as I started to have to deal with her. Like, that's what really get in it. That's what really happened, is your emotions get involved.
Right.
And you realize, man, I kind of did like Tasha a little bit. Like, I hated that dog, but I still kind of love that dog. Now I don't trust dogs. I don't be like, don't come over here loving on me.
So now y'all know why,
Where you see me with
don't have dogs.
We got two little Yorkies.
He was scarred at a young age with Tasha, right? Hey guys, I want to thank my man Cedric the Entertainer for coming on the show today. He said,
Cheers,
thank you, my
brother.
Thank you so
man.
much.
Great.
This is another episode of Off the Dribble with your boy B Scott. Until next time, we see y'all. We out.
I'll holler.
Holla.
Yeah.